Hi friends, I want to do a tag today and we're going to do the birthday book tag. I don't even remember where I first saw this. It was making the rounds on booktube, but I could not find the original creator. If you know who the original creator of the birthday book tag is, let me know in the comments so I can give them their shout out, their appreciation, show appreciation to them. But yeah, so September is my birthday month. Today I'm filming this on September 3rd. I'm actually probably going to post it on September 3rd too, because yesterday was my birthday. I did not feel like filming yesterday or this past weekend because it was a long weekend and, you know, I just didn't feel like filming. So we're going to do it today and post today. So let's get to it. Question number 1 is birthday cake. A book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. I'm going to go with Alice Feeney's Daisy Darker. This is about a family, a little bit estranged, and everybody has secrets. Everybody has something going on in their life, and they're coming back to the family home, or home, their grandmother's home, really, to, I think for her birthday. Is it her birthday? Yeah, her 80th birthday party. And everybody has secrets. They're coming together and then they get stuck in the house. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of a cliche. Oh, everybody's coming back with a family that's estranged. Everybody's coming back for some big milestone event and people start dropping dead. It's a good thriller trope that I enjoy. I like the isolated setting. I like that the house itself and the land it's on kind of act as a character in the story. And yeah, I think it's a great book. It's a pretty common trope, but Alice Feeney does it well. So number 2, party guests, your most anticipated book release for this year. So it's already September, so a lot of books have come out. But one of my most anticipated reads that just became a most anticipated reads this year, because I read the first one, is coming out next week. And that is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. I recently read House in the Cerulean Sea and loved it. Absolutely loved it. Funny, quirky, heartwarming, characters you love, settings that are amazing and magical and that you want to run off and run into. Those are the, happy place books, right? I just read that this year, and so I'm looking forward to the second book in the series. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy it when it comes out. Does anybody else have this problem? I'm so much a paperback girl. And yeah, it's coming out in hardcover, and it'll take a year and a half or so probably to come out in paperback. So should I buy it ahead of time in hardback? I don't know. We'll have to see. Birthday presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. So I'm going to go back to one that I've mentioned a lot on here, and that is The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. Maggie O'Farrell is one of my favorite authors. I started with her memoir and went to some of her contemporary fiction. I never really considered myself a reader of historical fiction. That's definitely changed since when I started watching booktube. This one I hesitated about for a minute because it starts off with Florence, the 1550s. That's like a time period that, I don't know, I wasn't sure I wanted to go into. And I think part of it is because I do enjoy like the Six Tudor Queen series by Alison Weir, but I know Maggie Farrell's writing, and I knew that this would be a lot more literary, and I just wasn't sure I was gonna have the brain power to go with it. But I absolutely love this book. It was one of my favorites of last year. And yeah, I recommend it to a lot of people. It is literary and historical, based on a real person who the character and the characterization of this girl, really, she's a teenager, Lucrezia, really speaks a lot about what life was like for girls and women back in the 1550s, which we know wasn't great at all. So yeah, definitely surprised that I love that one. Number 4 is The Happy Birthday Song, a book that certainly deserved all the hype it got. This isn't like, so I was trying to think of a book that was super happy and, you know, a feel-good read. And in that way, I came up with Beach Read by Emily Henry, which I just read last month or the month before. I heard about it when it came out. I think this one came out in 2020. It was Emily Henry's first adult novel. Everybody loved it. It took me 4 years to read it, but I loved it too. It definitely was a feel-good read when I was reading some pretty heavy books. So along the same lines, well, it's not a happy book. It was definitely a hyped book that I think deserved all the hype it got, and that is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This came out in the early 2000s and is about a young boy who comes of age in Afghanistan when Russia has invaded, and it looks at his life as a young boy with privilege, and his best friend who is a poor boy in the same neighborhood. So definitely hyped and definitely worth it. All right, the next one, Happy Music, a book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. So, as we were talking about, I like heavy books, and for this one, I've pulled out Dear Edward by Anne Napolitano. And some of the quotes, I've marked quotes in this, some of the ones that I marked, I should say, this is about a plane crash, a boy, and he's the only survivor, and his life after. Edward feels barren on the inside. There's nothing alive in him. Food seems not only unnecessary, but irrelevant. Another one, Edward says, I like her, even though like has nothing to do with it. Shay feels like oxygen to him. He doesn't like oxygen. He requires it. And this is more, this next quote is continuing to talk about that survivor's guilt that Edward feels in this book. He belongs with the dead, the ones who didn't show up, the ones who know everything and nothing. So I really enjoyed this book. Well, enjoyed relative to the plot. Unfortunately, I did not like Anne Napolitano's next book that came out, which right now, Hello Beautiful, I think is what it was called. But this one has really stuck with me. All right, Getting Older, a book that you read a long time ago that you think you would appreciate more if you read it as a more mature reader. So I actually have two. One of them I just recently reread and had those feelings that I appreciated a lot more, and that was The Awakening by Kate Chopin. This is about a woman who marries because she has to. That's kind of what women were expected to do, and has two children pretty quickly. They're around the same, they're close in age, and they're young, and just the expectations she has placed on her as a woman, a married woman, a mother, and how that kind of contradicts with how she's feeling, what she wants, what she wanted in life. She just kind of had to go with it. And that whole following society's expectations or following your heart. And what I want to reread is Summer by Edith Wharton. And this story, it kind of goes along the same lines of a young girl basically needing to marry to improve and have a safety net, if you will. And, you know, not following her heart or following her. Like, there's two different storylines. It's been a long time since I read this, and it's definitely due a reread. All right, number 7, Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. Y'all are gonna laugh at this, but so I picked a thriller. It wasn't a happy book, but it kept me focused on it took my mind off the things that were going on at the time. And that was 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. This came out in 2021. Was it 2021? Yeah, 2021. And it was the first book that I read that was about the pandemic. And, you know, we all have our vivid memories, I'm sure, of how the pandemic started and how it impacted your life. When the pandemic started, I basically, because I was taking care of my mom and she was high risk, I was high risk with my autoimmune disorder, basically just had to shut the house down and couldn't have anyone come or go. We had friends dropping groceries off on our front porch, you know, just completely cut off from the world. And I'm thankful that we had a safe place to do that, and that, you know, my job allowed me to do that. But it was a really weird time, and for me, very anxiety provoking, because I was responsible for keeping us all healthy, you know, because if my mom got COVID, we knew that it wouldn't be good. So, yeah, this book was one of the first books that I got when I signed up with Book of the Month, and it just kept my attention. I read it pretty quickly, and then found booktube sort of in the same time frame. And so while it's not a happy book, It's definitely a thriller. If the start of the pandemic was really stressful and you don't want to read about it, this is not a book for you, because it is all about the pandemic, and isolating and who you isolate with, you know. But yeah, it was a fun to read, it got me back in kind of my thriller excitement. And thankfully you could order books online. There was not a problem with that. I could order from my local bookstore, and they would just put the books, either you could have them mailed or just on their front porch. And yeah, so I got back into my reading and thriller days with this book. So that is the end of the birthday book tag. And it's a fun tag just to do. And like I said, I don't know who first created it. If you know, please let me know. And I also learned that one of my favorite booktubers is my birthday twin. So shout out to Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. Happy birthday to you too. She's definitely younger than me. But yeah, it was a good day. It was a great weekend. I love having a long holiday weekend for my birthday. Yeah, and I appreciate the birthday wishes that my friends and family and some of you sent me messages, and I really appreciate it. I hope that you guys have a great September, and I will talk to you all very soon.